r/AskReddit. People who work for the super wealthy, what stuff have you seen? Had a client who purchased a newly built penthouse apartment and wanted a jacuzzi on the balcony. It would have meant a structural column was needed in the middle of the balcony below, which the contractor who built the apartment block wouldn't go for as it would impact selling that apartment. Client buys the apartment below, approves the column, jacuzzi is installed, then privately sells the apartment below. Voila, problem solved. The owner of my company had a customer pay off a giant debt by signing over a yacht to him. When he went to the Marina to get the storage info transferred to his name and saw how much it cost to store the yacht there, he bought the Marina. The CEO of the company I worked for was the founder's son. Not an unintelligent guy for the most part. His dad made him start with the most basic jobs in the company and work his way through the different departments. Managerial stuff was ordered, upon penalty of termination, not to treat him any differently than a new hire. So when he became CEO he wasn't a bad guy to with for. Now, this is a company of over 10,000. One night, I'm working overtime on a late shift and we get this call. Hey, you guys. Got electrician? The guy is clearly drunk. We have no idea who it is, or why he's calling our maintenance/engineering group. We ask who he is, and he informs us, lightheartedly, he wants someone to take a ride to his house and figure out why the internet isn't working. This is an hour drive away. I volunteer. I was bored off my nut anyway. I get to the house. Entry gate is smashed. Section of the white horse fencing is gone. Jaguar is stuck in the field. Here in the house is Jude, completely blasted. He's got a huge cut on his hairline. Are you okay, boss? I'm fine. Why? He asks, blood literally caked on his face. I accompany him to the bathroom and help him clean himself up, wash off the gash, and put some bandaging on it. Then I corrected the internet. Unplug plug. As I'm walking out, he asks me to do a shot with him. I comment, worried about my job, that it might be a bad idea. He agrees and hands me the bottle. Take it home and do a shot later. Keep it. When I get back to work I look the stuff up. Never heard of it. It's a $1,500 bottle of scotch. The next day I'm at work early. About 11 in the morning he comes walking up. We are not going to be talking about last night. I tell him it's all good. Awesome. A little bit later I get an envelope. There's a check attached for emergency tech support $5,000. I did a male nanny job for a rich couple who wanted someone to care for their kids. The wife didn't want a female nanny and I was in college, so it helped pay the bills. One day they asked, do you want to go to Hawaii? Turns out the company that the husband was a COO of was doing an executive retreat in Hawaii. Instead of finding daycare in Hawaii for their kids they thought it'd be easier to just pay for me to fly to Hawaii, care for the kids during the day, and then have my evenings or their family time free. So I went to Hawaii on their dime, had my own hotel room, they paid me for my time, and gave me a large stipend for my own food/entertainment. I ended up with pretty much every evening off, so I got to spend it. During the day I brought their kids to the beach, we went hiking, and did some touristy running around. On top of that they gave me $5,000 in spending money in case any of the kids wanted anything. I had to show receipts, but when I tried to turn in the receipts the wife just said, oh don't worry about it, it's only a couple grand, and never verified how I'd spent some of that money. I couldn't tell if she just trusted me implicitly by that point, or if she truly thought the amount was so small it didn't matter. They were a really nice family, just very well off, which made just spending money on any problems the easiest answer. I actually got invited to the oldest daughter's high school graduation because she considered me a friend. Did appliance repair. One lady had a 10x12 walk-in wine cooler, floor to ceiling stocked with wine, in her living room. Another person's house was made of imported stone and had a library the size of 2-car garage. My favorite was an old lady who just had nice stuff. She took care of what she had. Every time I went she gave me $40 for a nice beer with your lady. I would always refuse, but she insisted and was basically the typical granny everyone would want. Worked in recruitment finding crew for super yachts many years ago. put forward a candidate for a chief engineer on a very well-known yacht owned by a very well-known individual. Was the perfect fit of knowledge and experience, and the guy was super friendly and nice as well. They turned him down because he wears glasses and the owner doesn't want anyone with disabilities working on board. Not the craziest thing, but wild to me. I was working for a kind of well-off family during a summer. I went inside to get a drink and the mom was cleaning the kitchen, putting things away and such. She picks up a MacBook and says to me, "Hey, do you want this? No one uses it, got a brand new MacBook for college." Their kids, all young 20s, never shut the door when using the bathroom. Plenty times while cleaning the house I'd walk past the bathroom and see one of their daughters on the can. They'd often wave or say hi, ducky nod. I was the project manager for a mansion build for one of the founders of a major health insurance company here in the US. This guy was one of, if not the, best billionaire I've ever worked for. He showed up nearly every day in shorts and flip-flops and would treat all of us like equals. This was around the time that President Obama was about to put out Obamacare. I was in a meeting with the owner and President Obama called him on his cell to discuss the plan. He, the owner, tells us to hold on. The president is calling, to which someone jokingly made a comment about thinking he was joking. The owner asks Obama to say hi to the team, and he did. It was surreal to be at the table with him when the call came through, and an experience I will never forget. My brother-in-law built custom homes in the redneck Riviera belt of Florida. One day, he called me to come over to this $15 million beach house he was doing a complete remodel of. He was the original builder. He asked me to bring my truck and trailer. I show up, and he walks me through all 4 floors. He then says, "The owners have removed all the stuff they want to keep. She has told me to dispose of everything as I see fit. Get what you want. Furniture, appliances, outdoor furniture, rugs, lamps, artwork, you name it." I don't know the value of everything I took home with me that day, but it was the highest end stuff I've ever seen. 4 floors of it, and I only got 1 trailer load because I simply couldn't fit anything else in my house. I likely had over $20,000 worth of furniture and appliances on that trailer. I briefly cleaned houses one summer and these houses were insane. Some had elevators. Some had stalls in their master bathroom. One had a literal cave manufactured in the bathroom, with shower heads all throughout it. You could walk from one end and come out the other side of the bathroom, split by a massive hot tub. What struck me as odd, in almost every house, was the sense of disuse. They had grand pianos covered in dust, expensive lamps and throw pillows with the tags still on them, sprawling playrooms with every toy any child could want, totally devoid of playing children. The weirdest house I cleaned though wasn't huge and it wasn't gorgeous. It was pretty normal on the outside, but inside, the entire house was filled with piles of clothes everywhere. I pulled aside my fellow cleaner and asked, with all sincerity, how to clean this house. She told me to go around the piles as best you can. They had a mountain of clothes in the living room, like something out of a cartoon. Every couch had stacks of brand new clothes with tags on them. They were the only folded clothes anywhere. In the bedroom it was the same. Smaller piles in every corner, couldn't fully open or close doors around them. The kids' bathroom didn't even have a shower curtain. Best guess after cleaning that house as best we could is that they don't wash clothes. I think they just buy more and discard the dirty clothes into the piles. I think about that house a lot and wonder if they ever got their shit together. I worked on a billionaire's home installing his custom pool. He ordered a custom iridescent tile. For the whole pool it cost $440,000 for material alone and another $400,000 to install it. We informed him that it was a special order and couldn't be changed once ordered. He approved. We installed it. Walks out. It looks amazing. All the people working on it thought so. Says he doesn't like it, tear it out and replace it. All told he blew like $2.4 million on his pool tile before he got done. Ducker didn't bat an eye. Years ago I used to work carpentry, mainly doing sunrooms. One of our clients was a brain surgeon who was married to a lawyer and they subsequently had a massive house on a large property. Their son was also some type of neuroscientist and with his parents' permission had yet another massive house built on this same property. Problem is, city ordinances prohibit 2 separate livable dwellings on the same property. Mind you, these houses were about a quarter mile away from each other. So to comply with the ordinances, they build a ducking wall between the houses. And this isn't just some dinky picket fence type of wall, it's a massive medieval style wall that has round towers with merlons and crenels, a gym midway through, and a massive $750,000 all glass sunroom, all the while being wide enough to have room for a walking path and a road for golf carts inside the wall. The city ordinance said only 1 livable dwelling can be on their property, so they just made a massive hallway between their houses. My friend is a mechanic. A wealthy, fat, famous and all-round unlikable entrepreneur came into his work one day and took a liking to his co-worker. He asked my friend's co-worker to come and work for him maintaining his car collection. It was really good pay and he got to work on some cool cars, so he thought why not. His days were spent working on old rare sports cars on his sprawling property, but every now and again he'd get sent to Europe or the United States to check out cars said entrepreneur was interested buying. He'd get sent to auctions all the time and ring up said entrepreneur while it was happening, so he could bid on the car on his behalf. I did carpentry for a summer to save up money for school. We would go to huge mansions and amazing houses that needed work done. Usually easy stuff, decorative things, so most times it would be 1 to 2 days of work. Most times we would work, the family would be home. It's not a problem, very normal. Once a family had kids and they watched a TikTok video on what poor people eat, and it was about how to cook things like 10-cent ramen and bread with sausages to make hot dogs. They laughed and thought it was fun, so made the food to try in the kitchen. They hated it all. This was the food I grew up eating my whole life. That packet of ramen was the same as a dinner waiting for me at home. I've done side IT work for various CEOs dozens of times over the years, and there's always common threads. It's always been male CEOs, and they genuinely seem relieved to have someone in their house that isn't trying to negotiate or weasel something from them. They'll sit and talk with me, ask my career plans, how I got into the field, that kind of thing. The wives of said CEOs are all eerily similar. Lots of makeup, very strong opinions, very cold, and very standoffish. The garage always has at least 1 classic car, 1 sports car, and 1 car lift. There is always a golf cart on the property. The kids' rooms are always a mess. One guy was in an 18+ room mansion and his teen son had a mattress on the floor with clothes piled up everywhere. I had to hook up some wiring in there, and it smelled like his foot was in my face. If there's a dog or cat in the house, it's the most well-groomed animal you've ever seen. They always have a van service to come out once a week or so for grooming. Any mess will be blamed on the cleaning lady. She either hasn't come or missed something, even though I didn't notice a mess in the first place. They tend to have the best of everything from store/vendors you don't normally see. One CEO had a custom German sound system installed in his game room, which featured a bar, a snack bar, theater seating, cafe tables, and 2 fridges. The interface on his entertainment system was also custom made and all the TVs in the house use the same interface. I used to work at a members only golf/country club. There were members who had been actors, athletes, race car drivers, former CEO of Google, some major money and egos going on. There was one family that had 3 teenage kids, 2 girls and a boy. The mom and the girls were very attractive and knew it. They always looked amazing and had overly entitled attitudes to match. They were fancy. Well, the lady who washed the linens for the county club also did house cleaning for some members. This family was one of them. She said their multi-million-dollar home was a disaster filth zone. They basically did no housework in between having the cleaning lady there. Dishes piled with dried food that smelled, dirty clothes thrown everywhere, piles of crap all over, sticky floors, dog poop left on the floor. But the nastiest part was the bathrooms. She said they wouldn't empty their bathroom trashes and the ladies of the house would throw their used tampons on top of overflowing trash. So she had to pick up their used women's products thrown on the floor, not even wrapped in paper. So these fancy bitches would walk around the club like they were so superior and look down on everyone, then would go home and act like wild apes throwing their trash and period products on the ground. The thought of being so out of touch that you decide it is beneath you to even be sanitary because you can just pay someone to do that for you is just beyond insanity. I'm a dentist and used to own a dental office in an extremely wealthy area. I feel like really rich people come in two flavors, very humble and generous or just 100% a-hole. Most are the a-hole, not much in the middle. True wealthy people care a lot about time, not money. If there was any hiccup in a procedure or something wasn't correct they would flip out. 99% of the issues they would flip out about I could fix, but that meant they had to make another dentist appointment which wasted their time. I hated working on rich people. Best day of my life is when I sold that dental office. Worked as one of 4 full-time groundskeepers at a large estate, 46 acres of lawn to mow twice a week, 2 clay tennis courts, 3 pools, 1 for the main house, and 1 for each of the 2 guest houses, 100+ acre private lake with boathouse. No clue how big the whole estate was including the woods. Personal favorite was the 3-mile personal racetrack. But what really blew my mind was that he hosted his niece's wedding one summer, paid $350,000 to have this massive willow tree trucked in and planted by the lake for wedding photos, only to pay another $50,000 to have it removed and the landscaping returned to its original state after the wedding because he did not like the look of it. I often do work for the wives of wealthy professionals. The thing that has always stood out to me is that if I tell them that something they want isn't doable, they respond with literal confusion. It isn't anger, it's confusion. They are so unaccustomed to not being given exactly what they want that it's as if they don't understand what is happening when they are told they can't have something. My sister is a butler for a super wealthy family. She told me a couple crazy stories. The family once got this super expensive rare breed cat and a few months later the wife tells my sister she can feel the cat isn't quite happy in their house. So she asks her to take their private jet to drop the cat off in their mansion on Lake Como, Italy, so it could spend a holiday in the sun. That same woman would then sometimes berate my sister for buying soap in plastic dispensers instead of just soap bars. Because it's bad for our planet, they bought this insanely huge super luxurious cabin in one of the most expensive ski stations in Switzerland. They realized the cabin, more like a mansion really, right next to theirs was for sale, and then bought that one as well, just so they wouldn't have close neighbors. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.